Let's go. 6 a.m. off to the gym. Another week begins. So I want to start off with, if you have been watching along on any of the videos so far, if there's any particular things you'd like to know what I do about my businesses or topics you'd like me to talk about, please leave a comment on the video and I'll get onto it, because every day there's so many things I can talk about, and largely I want to talk about things that are going on in the businesses at the moment so that you can follow along on the journey. But if there's particular topics that people are interested in, it definitely helps me guide my thoughts in the right direction. So over the weekend I finally got my whiteboard and it's installed. I mounted it on the wall yesterday. It was quite exciting for the family. My 4-year-old enjoyed drawing some stuff on the bottom of it, which was good. And so what that means is this week, and in fact I'm going to be doing this today, is starting to record some whiteboard video tutorials for Navexa, because Navexa is quite a complex product with how it calculates investment taxes, how it calculates performance, and I get questions all the time in support where someone challenges the performance numbers and they're like, no, this is wrong, it should be this. And then so what happens every single time is I go back to them with the maths and I'm like, this is exactly why it comes out with that number, and this is why the way you think it should be calculated doesn't work, because think about this other scenario and you end up getting like a negative number when that's impossible. And then inevitably they're like, oh, I see what you mean. Now I don't blame them, because when I started building Navexa, I thought calculating performance was easy. The big mistake is I thought, there's one way to do it, which there is definitely not. And then 2, I thought the calculations were a lot more basic than what they were, because if you've never done it before and you say, calculate the performance of something, you immediately jump to I bought a stock for $1, and then 3 years later it's worth $2, so I made 100%. How hard is that? And it's like, well, yes, that is correct. That formula is correct. But where that formula doesn't really work is when it gets a bit more complicated. So it's like, I bought the stock for $1. 6 months later I sold 3/4 of it. Then I bought another 20 shares in that stock, and then I sold 90% of it a few months later. But then I bought 3 times that original position, and I'm still holding that now. So what is my performance over the lifetime of that? And that's when it starts getting okay, how do you calculate that? And even that, while that sounds initially complex, that is still an easy scenario. What gets really complex, and this will cook your mind a bit, is you owned a stock, it demerged into another company where you received 2 different shares in 2 different companies. Then there was a split on one of them, and then one of them merged into another company. And it's so tell me the performance of that original purchase. And that's where things get quite intense and quite interesting on how to calculate. So that's what I want to do, is start recording some whiteboard videos where I can run through a bunch of those scenarios, so that when I inevitably get support tickets about, oh no, you're calculating the average buy price wrong, it should be like this, I can go, here, check out this video. I run through all the examples on how it is calculated and why the way you think it's calculated doesn't actually work. And I can also do, the ones I'm going to do initially are all around the capital gains tax strategies. And my purpose with this video series is A, to help people who don't know how it's calculated, but B, to assure people that we do know what we're talking about. And if you use our product, it's going to be correct. And you can see it's going to be correct because the founder of the product, i.e. me, knows exactly how all the formulas and stuff work. So you can be assured the code behind the scenes is doing what you think it does. But on that note, pulled up at the gym. Let's go. All right, we made it. So, gym went well. A tip to talking to people at the gym, which I accidentally discovered today, is make sure you're doing bench press. Make sure you're going extremely hard that you fail on the last rep and you can't quite get it up. And then someone will run over and help and you start a chat. Easy as that. But no, it's good. Pushed myself pretty hard. Very hard actually. Failed on the last rep, which is actually a really good thing, because the failure is where you get that extra bit of growth. And I think it's the same with the stuff I've done in business so far, is the failure is where you learn. It goes from that thing of being a theoretical to being, it's something you know for sure. If you do this, it doesn't work. So you can cross that off the list. And I think a lot about business so far, for me anyway, has been a lot of like crossing things off the list until there's only things left that work. And I've still got a few things to cross off the list, but that's where, and doing these videos is going to be one of them. So I definitely don't think doing video tutorials is going to hurt. I think it'll help. It would have helped me a lot back in the early days when I was just starting investing. And so seeing some of these more complex examples would give me the confidence that, you know what, I could calculate this on a spreadsheet. And a lot of the time, if you're in your first year or two of investing, then 100% you can do it on a spreadsheet, because chances are you haven't done that many trades, you don't have that much history that you need to factor in, and you can do it yourself. The problem becomes when you do your tax return one year and you've got capital losses that you can carry forward, or you've got holdings that you've partially sold, and then the next tax year you sell some more. You have to factor in the previous year's results into the current year's results. And that's where, if you don't have good records and you forgot, you look at your spreadsheet that you did the year before and you're like, what the hell was I doing here? I can't remember how this works. And that's when you get into trouble. And that's where, as an investor, having good record keeping is key. And that's where something like Navexa solves that problem. You don't have to think about it. All the records there. Previous year's results are all there. You don't have to worry about how it's calculated. It's done for you. So if you're already a customer of Navexa, you know all this, of course, because that's why you use Navexa in the first place. But as an investor myself, it's been crucial, because in the early days here I didn't need much of this, but I've been investing since 2013 now, so 11 years. That's 11 years worth of trades. And mind you, I'm not doing I probably do 5 to 10 trades a year on a busy year. I more like to get a bit of money together and then make one solid trade. And that might only be into something pretty basic like an ETF, but sometimes it is into an individual stock as well. And so I don't do a heap of trades, but over the years the complexity starts building, starts stacking. So I'm on the way home now, so I'm excited to start doing these videos. The family's going to be out of the house most of the day, which is how I prefer to work, because while I love hanging around my family, it is very distracting, and I do quite complex work that I often just need to get in the zone and stay in the zone for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. And even if, and this is one of the perils of working at home, even if I don't get interrupted, it's the threat of interruption at any moment that occupies like 10% of my brain. So you'll know it, like as you're about to dive into a complex piece of code or a complex business problem or whatever it is. In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, if I start this now, what's the likelihood of me getting interrupted in the next like 30 minutes? And like, so when no one's in the house, that thing's gone, I gain that kind of 10% brain power back and can just get in the zone. I know nothing's going to stop me, except for damn spam door knockers in real life. Good thing is I've figured that out, because we've got a camera on our doorbell. So now if we get a random person ring the doorbell during the day, I make sure to check the camera first. I made the mistake of answering the door a couple of times. And then you get hit with spam in real life, which I appreciate. Like, you got to make sales somehow, and I'm sure it works. But I'm too busy for that. So, getting home now. So, like I was saying at the start of the video, if you're still here watching, do leave a comment. Make sure you like the video if you like it, because that indicates to me this is the kind of stuff you're into. And I hope you have a productive day and get a lot of high leverage activities done. I know that's what my plan is, and it's always a note to myself every morning: work on high leverage stuff. So on that note, get after it.